Hi Honey Bunnies, Susan McGarry here, and I wanted to do a little project with some of my Dichro and then show you some things you can make with it. Let's start with the supplies you'll need. I'm using 3mm black glass and I'm going to make two different pieces. I'm going to use some textured clear Dichro and some smooth clear Dichro. So some of the tools you'll need is your glass cutter, your breakers, your grozers, and some kind of nipper. I prefer these. The first thing I like to do is kind of get a straight edge going on this edge. It just saves me work later. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want it somewhat straight. And then Dichro pieces, of course, have a Dichro coating usually only on one side, so I try and put the Dichro side down. And you see, once I put these on the black, I can kind of see what color they are, so I like to alternate the color a little bit, so I don't have similar colors next to each other. All I'm doing is trying to get sort of a flat layer where it covers just about everything on the black glass. But I kind of want it to stay within these borders. It'll make my job easier later. Okay, I pretty much have one layer down. Now I want to stack in between those layers and cover all those little joints where the two colors meet. Now these items aren't necessary, but I find them pretty helpful. I use White Rain hairspray and I put it in this little bottle. I've been using this bottle for years. It's got a little tip on it. I get it from the clay and ceramics store. And then a pair of tweezers just to move the glass around. And this hairspray I use as glue. Burns off clean, super cheap. It doesn't dry very fast, so it's kind of hard to move initially, or you can just leave it in place until it's dry. You notice I started with the bigger pieces, and then I get smaller and smaller and smaller. And this will give it a really great layered effect. I've already decided I'm going to turn this one into jewelry. I'm going to cut it up. Don't have to be particular on this. I just want to get it really saturated. Alright, I think I'm happy with this, and I've got a little left over for the next one. Now you can set this someplace to dry. It takes about half an hour maybe, for that hairspray to dry. Or if you can gently set it in the kiln just like this, then the hairspray will be just fine. And if you can do this without putting any glue or hairspray on it, then definitely the way to go. So I'm gonna make another little dish, and this one I slumped into this dish. So I've decided to make the next one in this little dish. It's got a little more gradual slope to it, a little smaller in the middle. So I cut my piece about the size of the mold. And now I'm going to put lots of little pieces on here, and I like to put the Dichro down, so the dichroic coating down onto the glass. Dichro does not stick to Dichro, so if you were to put this up and the next piece down, they wouldn't stick right there. So I try really hard to get all my pieces Dichro down. And I would like to get this one pretty accurate, so I don't have to do as much cleanup in the end. I like that one edge to be straight here, but I like it wavy, so it just adds more interest. It's like putting a puzzle together, and I really like puzzles, so that might be why I really like this. Now looking at them, I believe this one is Dichroic, so I'm going to flip that over. Yep, that was. Alright, I'm going to drench it in my hairspray glue. Try and get it under all the pieces. And even if it doesn't dry before it goes in the kiln, it helps things from moving and it burns off clean. Okay, now I have all these little tiny pieces over here that I can put on top. Try and get them dichro down. And try and cover those gaps. If some of these are Dichroic, it won't be a problem. I'm using some of that red glass and some of that silver backed. I'm just putting everything in here because they're teeny tiny bits. So I already know with all these layers, it's going to go over square. It won't be square anymore. It'll grow on all sides. So I'll trim it up and square it up and fire polish it before I slump it into the little tray. So you just start with bigger pieces and you just keep getting smaller and smaller. I see one more place I want to put one, right there. All right, I think that about does it. And I'm just going to add some hairspray glue to it. And because all the Dichro is transparent, you'll see those layers. All right, this one's ready to go in the kiln with the other one. I'll full fuse both of them and show you what it looks like when they're done. Okay, so they're out of the kiln, and I think they turned out amazing. I love them. Can you see that on camera? I hope so. It is beautiful. So this one's ready to go back in the kiln. I'm not going to do any cleaning up. I'm not even worried about that. I'm just going to put it in this little dish and put it in the kiln on a slump fuse. So just get it to drop into that one. This one I'm going to cut up and put in at a full fuse all the little pieces to create little pieces of jewelry. So I'll use these tools to get that done. I'm cutting it on the back because it's much easier. So I have enough pieces, I figured I would make some earrings. They don't have to be perfect. could get a lot more exact if you used a wet saw, some type of wet saw, tile saw. So let's see what we've got. Well, we have some really cute pieces of jewelry, and we have some earrings here. So I'll go ahead and put these in the kiln at a pretty full fuse. I don't want them to round out too much into circles, but really soften those sides. All right, I'll show you what they look like when they are done. Okay, so they're out of the kiln and all done, and they are gorgeous. Let's start with this one. This is, you remember I started with this little tray and then made this one. And take it out of the mold, and look at how gorgeous that is, that little dish. I think this one's so beautiful. I kind of want to make this into jewelry, but it is a gorgeous dish, so we'll leave it the way it is. But maybe I can make more, because that one's really pretty. I love the colors. These also came out gorgeous. There's nothing wrong with these. These are stunning. I kind of paired up the earring sets with pieces that I thought they went well with. So all I have to do is add bails onto them, and they're ready to use. I think they turned out really gorgeous. I hope you give it a try doing some layering. And no special tools were needed, so I didn't need any wet saw or tile saw or anything. This was all just done with my typical standard glass tools. So to put bails on them, I'm going to use my E6000. Okay, I've used a variety of bails on here, and I just need to add the earring wires on these. And of course, these can be matched up with any piece. They will go with any of them because we use the same glass throughout them. They're absolutely gorgeous. I hope you give this a try with some of your Dichro and come up with some really beautiful results when you layer it. So this has been a lot of fun, and I hope you give it a try. Be cool, honey bunnies. Bye-bye.